Welcome to Hot Topics, everyone. This is LB coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina. You've seen it on the screen. Dr. Juanita Bynum went ham. When I say she went off, it's all deserving too. And I bless the sister for doing what she did. Someone needed to stand up. It's well overdue time for someone to stand up and do what this lovely, wonderful pastor, minister, doctor did. We're going to talk about all that more when we come back.
We gon' hit them hot topics. We talking about them hot topics. We gon' hit them hot topics. We talking about them hot topics. We gon' hit them hot topics. We talking about them hot topics. We gon' hit them hot topics. So put it on the, put it on the, put it on the, put it on the floor. Got a few situations that we wanna talk about. Got a few disagreements, we gon' need to talk it out. Right here in the hot seat, no need for another route. We gon' keep it 100 without the bottle count. LB gon' pull it out you. A dentist with a drill. Don't be all up in your feelings.
Stop it right there. Flo Nice just said something, ladies and gentlemen. There's a few things we need to talk about. Some things you may not agree with me on tonight. Hell, you might not agree with me on a lot of things, but who cares at this point? We're going to go ahead and go all the way in on what doctor, minister, evangelist, and all the other the pastoral names that people might want to call her. But Sister Juanita Bynum did her thing and did it well. Yes, no stockings with thongs. What she meant was she's tired of women coming to church with no stockings on, but they got thongs with greasy legs. Trying to get a man in church. MG.
What's up? What's up? I heard it, man. I heard it. Hey, you know when we was, they always said if you want to find a good man or woman, you can find them in church now. But we get started now. You know, hey, them thongs and stockings, two different things. You know, nowadays them thongs is some stockings to some people.
Now man, I really don't know how to say it. When I went down and started looking at it, they gave this to me and they said, "Yo, L, you got to look at it. You got to look at it." Man, when I was looking at this thing, Marquise, I was like, man, I couldn't believe all that she was saying, man. I mean, I could believe it, but for her to say it now after so much time has passed and no one said nothing, no one's did nothing. It's well past time, dude. Well past time.
Hey, you remember being young? You remember being younger, going to church? You see the elders whispering about, "Look what she got on. She should be ashamed coming to church like that." Somebody, like you say, somebody finally stood up and spoke on it. You know, that I give her a big standing ovation to her because it was well needed. You know, to address that issue. You know.
And my thing, Marquise, is this right here, man. As you said back in the days, we couldn't come to church that way, man.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't hold my tongue for nobody and nothing, but once the LBGT community started progressing to the plateau they are, we saw more and more changes in the churches. Not saying they're at fault, but we saw a big demographic change as to how people were coming to church, who was coming to church, and what they were wearing to church.
Yes. Going to church nowadays is like going to the club. We all know when you dress to impress.
And I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, don't hate me. I mean, if you're a lesbian or you gay, don't hate me because I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying, when all that started coming to the main front, you saw more and more churches change. But enough about how I feel about church. Let's listen to what Juanita say about church. Check out
where the church has gone to. What I really don't get is what I'm seeing happening as it relates to the body of Christ and just the respect that we're supposed to have as women of God. That part is confusing me. It's confusing me when I look up and I see people on Sunday mornings doing praise and worship in bodycon dresses. And dresses, I'm telling you, may unfriend me after today. You may literally unfriend me after today, and I really don't care. Seeing women do praise and worship in bodycon dresses that is so tight until I can see the dimples in your behind. So tight until I see your thong. I'm confused about the call of God. The call of God on our lives. The call of God.
You heard it. You heard it.
I heard it. I heard it.
One thing I'm touchy with Sister Bynum is she says she's confused. Why? Why are you confused, Sister Bynum? What's confusing about this?
It's nothing to be confused about. They gotta get a man. Mm-hmm. Hey, in the Bible it says, "Come as you are." Though I don't know what she's gonna say. It's "Come as you are." But some people leaving the club going straight to the church house.
She gonna touch down on that, but my thing is she keeps saying over and over as we hear more clips, she gonna keep saying she's confused, and I'm like, you can't be confused. This has been going on for so long. How are you confused and it's been going on?
You've been saying this for years.
You got ministers who are having so much sex with the women in church.
Yes.
You got so much wrongdoing going on in the churches. How are you confused? That's where I'm at the crossroads with Sister Bynum. But yes. I mean, she touched some great points though, man. She touched some great points. These pastors are allowing their congregation to come any kind of way. But
my opinion,
can you come to church with at least some decency?
I understand that too. I mean, come fully dressed, properly dressed, look decent. But at the end of the day, they didn't make it to church that Sunday morning. I understand the outfits is the biggest thing, but it's like church is more like a fashion show. You want to come looking good. Some men, like you said earlier, majority of the men are having relations with the congregation, with the people in the church. Everybody's sleeping with everybody sometimes.
Not just the man, because there was one church here in North Carolina, I ain't gonna call the name, where we had a minister of music to come in, and just about all the, I ain't gonna say all the women, but a good bit of the women in the church, they had to have that minister. So it wasn't like the minister was trying to get the women. The women was fighting after him.
Yes.
So who's the true monster?
Hey, you got a good. That's good.
See there?
You leading up to something there.
See there?
Just hit something there. So who is the monster? Hey, I like that one. Yeah, you have the right.
I mean, so easy for people to say, "Well, he got with all those women. He got with 5 women out of that church," but they the ones who sought after him.
For him.
Yeah,
I think they're the monsters.
Yeah, he was the prey.
They're the monsters.
Yeah.
See, they come there to attack. They like a pack of hyenas.
Throwing that monkey on him. I mean, he didn't have a pack of bananas in his daggone pocket saying, "Come little monkey, come little monkey." And I'm not saying I'm calling the ladies monkey, but if you're old enough to understand the terminology of what a monkey is when it comes to the female's anatomy, you know what I'm saying.
Most definitely.
I'm not calling no female a monkey whatsoever. But
that's how you keep it real like that. See, that's why we come to you with these topics. You come straight, head up with it, let them know what's going on, what the opinion is, this is how you feel, this is what's going on. Everybody hollering, she's hollering about the church, because a woman want to wear a thong at church. Me, myself, let her wear her thong the way she wants. She want to look more attractive at church. Times are changing, which having respect and dressing appropriately in the house of the Lord is very important too. But also, in the Bible, it says, "Come as you are. Judge not, for thou shalt be judged in the end." Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, we have to excuse that, because if I would complain about that, some people won't even let a homeless man come into a church or a homeless woman because they smell so bad. But if I would touch this issue to worry about a woman wearing a thong, some little booty cutters, I can't. Cause hey, she doing her thing. She's there to get the word and catch her a good husband. It is what it is, but I mean, I'm lost. She got me lost. Cause if she's jealous, I don't know. I want to see her body. I want to see what she got now.
And I'm be real with you. As I sat down in there, I thought about that as well. Because a lot of what she said, man, because she even tipped on herself, talked about how she has a nice body, she likes to dress, and da 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 da. But her main thing isn't about the ladies having a nice body. It's about showing it. But watch this right here.
The line get drawn. That skirts are so tight and so short until half of your thighs are out. And you're ministering. And you're standing on put. And I can't even get to the concept of somebody preaching and leading praise and worship with no stockings on, with thongy stringy shoes on, and your legs all greased up. What kind of message are you trying to send us? Because to me, that looked like somebody that's got a whole spirit that ain't purged out in God. And any minute you can just go over in a corner to a deacon and just raise your dress up and hit it right there in the corner because you don't even have drawers on. You got on thongs and some greasy legs and a bip bop skirt.
You heard what she said.
Hey man, that was she. Hey man, you know what? Me and her got smoked now. I get what I'm trying to understand what she's saying, but the way you're a woman of God, you're in the church, the way that you're handling this situation and coming saying the shit that you're saying, it's like really hypocritical in a lot of ways. Because you're attacking the person, you're a woman of God, so you lead by example to come and address them ladies as needed with starting a little group about dressing appropriately for church. Now, what you would do with poor people that's looking to become a pastor, a youth minister team, creating something in their life, you make them feel like that you can make them feel like they're not accepted there because now you're judging them. It seems more of a judgmental point that she's putting it. Now I understand what she's saying, but the way you're saying it just really lost me, man. I grew up in the church. I come from the old school country road churches. We might have 11 members some Sundays. I really come from the backyards. So to understand everything that's coming out of her mouth that's some bullshit, man. She's absolutely wrong. She went too far. She's doing too much.
For her to say it the way she did, I'm thinking she basically just got tired, man. She got tired of seeing what she's been seeing all these years. And I'm one of those kind of brothers that's like this. As soon as I see a problem, I attacked it right then. I don't let that problem continue on and on and on to the point where I can't take it no more. In reference to, so like if this show right here, so like if one of the co-hosts, someone who's on the panel, they're doing some things and they continuously keep doing it. Well, I'm not going to let them continue to keep doing it. I'm going to address it. I'm going to, get the crew together and say, hey, we got to address this situation right here because it's not a good look for us. You know what I'm saying? So I fault her for waiting this long in the position she's in. You know what I'm saying? Because, and the other thing is, whoever she truly, whatever church, whatever pastor she has a problem with, I feel she should have directed to them one-on-one.
Yes.
Because later on in her message, she says she don't care who unfriends her and don't follow her anymore. And for all the women that are on her Facebook page and dress slutty and sleazy, she's going to X them off anyway. And my thing is, why don't you go to those people directly, Miss Bynum? If you really truly want to help them by deleting them off of your page because they are on there combing their hair, as they're getting dressed, trying to talk about God at the same time, why don't you inbox them and say, hey, can me and you have one-on-one chat?
Yes.
You address them. And then if it can't work out that way, then you X them off. Because, sister, you're not helping by saying, hey, I'm going to say what I got to say. You like it or you leave it. Would God did you would have God done you that way, Miss Bynum?
I mean, she sounds like a bitter woman. She sounds like a bitter woman to me in the moment at that part, at that time. You know,
That's what I felt. That's what I
it's
felt.
really for me to just listen to that whole clip, man. You know, that really it hurt me right here, man. Because I couldn't understand for her being a woman in the type of position she's in and the type of light that she has over her. Yeah. Your words and the things you do carries a lot of weight.
Well, one thing that got me is where she said, "Sister, it ain't nothing for you to go pull your dress up and go over to one of the deacons. Well, why you got to throw the girl off on the deacon? So you saying the deacon ain't hitting on nothing?
And get a quickie in the corner.
So the deacons ain't hitting on. You didn't say go over and find somebody that you've been liking out of the congregation. You don't threw the deacons under the bus.
So we know what's going on in church nowadays.
Why she
I think we know what's going on now, LB.
Okay, now my thing on that one is why she couldn't go get another girl? Why she got to go get a man?
Could have been the other way around.
Why she couldn't go get a female usher?
But my thing, she was so, it seemed like she done been there before. The way she explained the whole scenario, it was like you was young once upon a time too. And we know church, a lot of freaky things going on at church now. Even as kids, you know, we was kids, you know. Yeah, you know, we was younger, hanging around in church, a lot of freaking women in church. So she was young once too. She was that young individual, that young female.
She started out saying that this has gone on too long. So that right there told the story. She's known that a lot of this corruption in the churches, specifically, she's talking about the black churches, has been going on. She's been seeing it. She's been watching it. Not saying that she hasn't been saying anything, because maybe she has. And maybe to the boiling point where she doesn't talk. Maybe she have a talk to some of these pastors that she's been around, and their churches is all chaotic. And it's gotten nowhere. To the point where now she's saying, look, I'm going live with it. I've tried to deal with you guys. You didn't want to correct it. So now I'm letting the world know. Check out what she says next, man.
Yes, I'm just not understanding how pastors.
See, I'm going to stop it right there. She keep going back to how she just not understanding. Sister Bynum, you cannot keep saying that. You have been around the ministry for too many years.
Yes.
You've seen way more than I have, because I don't go to church every Sunday, every other Sunday, every month for that regards. You possibly have. I ain't gonna say you have, but you possibly have. For you to be a lady of the cloth. So for you to keep saying you don't understand, you can't. No, sister, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I love you, but stop.
Yes, I'm just not understanding how pastors can allow people to parade in their churches looking like that. I've never seen in this hour so many women that are Christians.
Hold up. You done with the clip? Hold up. You see?
And I guess
her whole demeanor is just off, man. I mean, the stuff she's saying is just how she's coming in and how you can say as Christians, now you're trying to play it should be a dress code for church. It's like you're digging around to start more controversy in the church. The people that come to that church keep that church going. They money, but they pay their tithes, keep them lights on. It's certain ways you gotta have a celebration, not by downing your congregation, the people that attend to your church. Or about if you come to church to talk about God, why are you worried about what somebody else is wearing? Your thing is to get a message through these young ladies, or through these ladies, into the gentlemen as well. So, but by her, it's just like she's more on the defense mode of attacking, attack.
Check out what this person stated. They said, I had a lady come to me and said, you need to wear a slip and stockings. I told her that she should be paying attention to the sermon and not me. True story.
I'm telling you.
True story.
That's what's going on.
And I love that response. And the pastor should love that response as well. And the deacons, since the deacons done got thrown under the bus, they should love that response as well as also. Thank you for placing it up, whoever placed it up.
And the way she's attacking everything, you know, it's putting everybody on Front Street. She's calling out the pastors and the deacons.
We got more.
But there's a time and a place for it all. And Sunday morning service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties. That's not the time.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Did she just say nipples and titties?
You heard what she said.
So I'm getting all that at church. What church did she go to?
Yeah, I'm gonna do this one time.
And Sunday morning service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties. And Sunday morning service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties. And Sunday morning service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties. And Sunday morning service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties. That's not the time to do it. And I gotta give it to you plain talk, because you don't.
Whoa, 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 whoa. See, now she said she gotta give it to you plain talk. But see, that's why I say, Sister Bynum, you really should have sat down and thought about this before you actually placed it out there. You said Sunday morning service isn't a time to show your nipples and your titties. So is there a time in church that they should be showing their nipples and titties? Or maybe you just overspoke what you really, really meant. Or underspoke what you really, really meant. Because I don't think ladies should be showing their nipples and titties at church anywhere, anytime.
At all. At all.
There you go. But you said
church, if they're doing that, church, if they're doing that, church not turn into a strip club. That's all I can say. If I go to church, see nipples and titties, it's a strip club now.
Morning service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties. That's not the time to do it. And I gotta give it to you plain talk, because you don't understand nothing else. That's not the time. Where is your bra? How are you coming to church on a Sunday morning to worship God and you have no bra on? I'm not getting this. I'm not getting this. Jumpsuits on. No underwear on. This is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties.
You heard it. You heard it, man. You heard it. You heard it. I mean, I just can't get over this part.
Service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties.
I can't get over that, man.
Brother LB, what you think, man? Tell me something, man.
I can't get over it, man.
She got me.
This right here is what I think. Exactly what Karis once said. Like I told you, you must learn.
Man,
she said,
what is church coming to?
Man, you know what it is, man.
Now let me ask this question: do you think she's gonna have a lot of backlash on this? I really want to, because that's a good topic. The way how she came off, I think she's gonna have a good little bit of backlash. Yeah. For the women in her community and in the congregation.
It will, but like everything else in that field, she'll be forgiven and it'll be forgotten. She will need to apologize to some of the people in her church because they may be thinking that she's talking about them depending on how they dress. And she'll have to address that at her church and let them know, hey, it wasn't this church that I'm talking about. You guys come accordingly. It was some other churches that she go to. And I think really, honestly, I'm thinking that's what she's saying is some of her fellow ministers, pastors, bishops, their churches are so far out of whack. She don't really like going to those churches anymore. She want to go, but she don't like going because of what she's seeing, how everything's being conducted.
But see, that's her thing is to preach the word, to lead by example. If you're letting something what's going on at somebody else's house of worship bothers you by how they people come in and dress it, why is it bothering you so much by how, as long as they're coming there to get the word? You're taking something for you to say, okay, I'm not talking about this church. You're talking about your church, the next church. So what are you talking about? She's not displaying it to just talk about the churches she's been to. Also, she sees it come to her church as well. But for her to really just continue to push it off on the ministry like they're doing something wrong, like they're not doing their job, but them seats in their church is packed. So it's really she's attacking a lot of people. She's got me lost on this whole I guess her little rant. She was venting. She was tired of it. I understand. But I think she's gonna lose a lot of within the ministry we'll forgive her. But a lot of the people that have sit around her and looked up to her, she will lose. She's gonna lose a couple points on how she came out handling this situation, bringing it to the public.
Most
I don't.
definitely, she'll lose a lot of the millennials. She'll lose them because she talked about that. She said millennial, millennial, chillennial, collennial. I don't care what it is. You
Mhm.
you need to change how you're dressing. And I think she's really talking to predominantly the 20-year-olds and
Mhm.
some of the 20 and 30-year-olds. She's really talking to that crowd in reference to what they're doing. And I think she's to a plateau that if she do lose a lot of that fan base, she'll be all right. She'll be all right.
I'm not saying she won't. I'm just honestly, she just really got me up. I'm gonna be real with you, brother LB.
Mhm.
I get what she's saying about it's a place to dress. I tell you, I got a 16-year-old daughter, so you know I'm up on some. It's certain ways to dress all the time. You got to be able to dress according to the situation. So I'm a father, and I'm a father of a young teenager, a daughter that's 16. So I understand what she's saying about dressing appropriately. I explained that to my daughter on about certain times you want to dress appropriately for where you're going, for the present, wherever you for your presentation. But at the end of the day, dealing with this whole situation, for you to get your point across, being in that type of limelight, no matter if she loses a few or not, they will never look at her the same because of the way she handled this situation. It's like you're putting them down to shame. Like
Mhm.
it's like you're shaming the people that dress that way. They are 20 and 30 years old. They still got a long way to go.
And you're right. And that may be a situation where someone higher up, more on her level, may come to her and say, "Hey, you need to go back and address the young crowd because what you said now has affected our churches, and we're
Mhm.
losing so many members, the younger crowd, especially because of what you stated. It could be that. But let's not push no bad will on her statement,
Yeah,
uh, and no bad judgment on her statement for that to happen. And I hope that it doesn't happen. I hope it comes to the people, the younger people, or the people that she's just targeting in reference to her message. I hope it comes to them directly to the point where she's concerned.
I got one more question. Let me ask a question. Last time I've been to church, ain't nobody wearing no stockings no damn more, man. Come on, man. My grandma them still wear stockings. I'm not knocking that. I ain't a woman come in nice set of legs greased up. You want it to be old fashioned. I understand that. That's basically what she's saying. What about the old fashioned
No,
way? Old fashioned.
what she's saying is the ladies that are doing the praise dancing and they got the little small skirty stuff on. They're not covering nothing up. And when they're doing praise dancing, that little skirt and everything is flying everywhere, and it's showing their underwear, their thong, and all that. That's really what she. If you go back and listen to the whole length of the thing, that's really what
Yeah.
she was talking about when she was talking about wearing stockings. Those ladies.
Yes, but she's feeling the Holy Ghost. She's doing the praise dance. You know, God made us. We came in this world but naked. Show a little flesh every now and then ain't kill nobody.
I
You
feel
get
you.
a brain.
I
You got
feel
to
you
preach the
100,
word.
man. But I'm be
Come
honest
on,
with you.
brother.
I don't think I want to see any of my daughters wearing a short skirt, kicking their legs up in the air with thongs on, bro.
I understand that.
I just wouldn't. I would have to. Look,
I had to back myself, but
Ariana,
you know, we have to. They're growing up. You know, I go. Of course, you want to see your daughter sitting there praising with a thong showing. You don't want to see no bit of your daughter's thong showing at all. You don't
but
even
see,
want your child to know that you wear thongs.
I got one better for you, and that really this goes back to what she was saying. She if you go back and listen to what she said, she's really talking to the leaders of the church, the
Mhm.
minister of praise, the ministers of dance, those people, not the congregation, but those people. She's targeting them because this is one thing that can happen, and this goes back to the guy that guy that did the killing down in South Carolina a couple years ago when
Mhm.
he went into the church and killed up the church. If these churches would incorporate more security, better security, that would eliminate all that. There's a dress code coming in here. Just like when you go to the White House, there's a dress code.
I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? You come into this church, there's a dress code. Incorporate a dress code. Therefore, and the dress code is specific. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna wear a dress, a skirt, it
Yeah,
can't be waist high. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a length that is presentable and makes sense.
I understand. I
But
still,
the definition of 304. Now this one caught me right here is a slang for prostitute. Those in the industry use this as a term of endearment and not in a negative way. 304. And the industry of prostitution. So, and she stated that, you want to come to church, and that's not my words. That was provided by online slangdictionary.com. If you want to go and check to see whether Urban Voice Media is on top of what they're doing. She used that. She said, you want to come to church acting like a hoe. You want to come looking slutty. She said, she don't want to go down her timeline and see women looking slutty. And I think a lot of what is getting her is the girls or the ladies are online giving testimonies while they doing their hair, putting on clothes, putting on makeup. That's bothering her for some reason. She's like, that's not a presentable way to talk about the God to people. But what is presentable? I say that to say this right here. Let's go back to biblical days.
say that one more time.
Let's go back to biblical times.
Yes,
Did they have bras?
that was more clothes. That was more clothes than biblical times were going back. But as you build the temple, yes, you would come fully clothed.
When bras was uh let's see. When bras was first created?
Actually, I don't. When?
In 1889
Mm.
in France by a lady by the name of Hermine Cadot. The first bra was 1889. So what did they do prior to that? And how do we know how fully clothed they were in biblical days?
Yes, you're right.
In the words of this gentleman, Mr. Harvey, were you there? I wasn't there. So how do I know how they clothed in biblical days? I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm not doubting that they were fully clothed or not fully clothed, but how do we know?
But looking at nowadays in time, when we think that they were really well back then, within this day, this modern day in time, and within back then, you're absolutely right. We never know what type of fashion statement was in back then. I guess coming, but the church and always come as you are, so you never know.
Well, they
That's
came.
one thing.
She got more. Check it out.
Is it? Because we money to buy titties? Because we finally got enough money to go and buy extra behind?
She keep using that word titties for some reason, man.
She like titties, don't she?
Yeah. I think that's the first thing that's getting her, because she talks about the cleavage and all that and everything, and how women are just showing so much cleavage. Now, you know what? I'm gonna get off Juanita for 1 second. We're gonna come back to her for 1 second. And I saw this the other day in Walmart.
Yeah.
This one heavy set lady. She was so huge. She was leaning over the cart like this right here.
Mhm.
And her breast was so huge, man. I mean, all I can see is this top shelf. That's all I can see is this top shelf. I mean,
Yeah.
it was huge top shelf, not no small top shelf, huge mountaintops. I mean, it ain't like, I looked and, just wanted to be perverted or anything. But I looked in belief. I couldn't believe that I'm looking at a woman this top heavy, leaning over, and they about to pop out.
They looking at you.
Yeah, about to pop out. So I'm feeling you, Juanita. I'm feeling you. Not in church. I want to hear the Lord, not hear your breast talk to me.
So you saying in church you don't want to see that cleavage in church?
Nah. I want to hear the Lord talk to me. I don't want to hear no breast talking to me.
So basically what she's probably saying is that the way they dressing and showing themselves, they're taking away from the Lord, basically. You know, they pulling away from the Lord. So they need to be better clothed. You know, you're distracting a lot of people that can't get that sermon that morning in because they're too busy watching you.
And you know, she said that it's not the people who are like first timers or just getting into church. It's the people who have been there for a long time. She stated that as well. You know, it's people who should know better and they're doing things, not the people who don't know God and haven't been in church. But I ain't gonna talk about. I ain't gonna do that. I'll let somebody else talk about the church.
But this was a heavy time. Heavy.
Because we finally got enough money to buy titties. Because we finally got enough money to go and buy extra behind. And now everything you wear got to be tight, got to be sexy. So now sex appeal is on an all-time high. Not worship, not brokenness, not Lord, here I am. Not God, purge me and cleanse me. God, where is the scripture that says that women ought to dress in modest apparel with shame face? We're not shame anymore. And there's something wrong with the spirit of the Holy Ghost that you say you got when the Holy Ghost in you don't ever say to you, that's too tight. How is it that you don't think it's too tight when it's so tight in the front that you can actually see the print of your vagina? Really, y'all? Come on.
You heard it.
I heard it.
She said that your pants are so tight, you can see the print of the vagina.
Which is what they do call people a camel toe, for those who don't know. They're camel toe. I understand that is kind of overboard. Now, I don't disagree with her 100%. I agree, like the presentation, but that is tight, though. You in there, I'm trying to figure, I'm looking at her, the preacher, that you displaying all that in church. What you think, Brother LB, man? That's a tough one, man. She's hit some key pointers on it, like the cleavage hanging out. She's seeing titties, nipples.
Well,
now she's seeing vaginas.
Check this out right here. This is just this is just an addition as to what she's tapping to. Check this out. Now that was a pastor's wife.
She was just feeling the Holy Ghost. She was feeling the Holy Ghost.
She was feeling something. But look at what she had on.
Yeah. I checked out her clothing. It was pretty tight. It was more of a...
No, hell no. You checked out more than her clothing. But hey, I'm not going to get you in trouble. You don't want to open up your mouth right now. But
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Man, look.
She had a nice body. And she was shaking her booty. She was twerking that big yellow booty. I don't know if her booty yellow or not, but the pants was yellow. But she was shaking her big yellow booty so that everybody in the congregation could see her booty bounce up and down, saying, "Look what I give to the pastor."
She moved the crowd.
I'm not mad at her. I'm just saying I can't understand what Juanita is saying.
I understand that from that point of view. But like we're also looking at times are changing over, like we spoke on earlier. The generation is changing over. And like you say, it's a certain time and place to act a certain way, to perform a certain way. I understand that totally what she's saying. Now that I understand. But from what I'm looking at is the whole topic of what I'm basically saying is the way you handle this situation is totally different. You can't try to tell a person, you want them to come to get understanding of the Lord. The Lord, you know what I'm saying? I get what the Lord, they coming there. She might have been twerking across stage just then. But one thing about it.
LG, Effortless Film says she came straight from the club. She came straight from the club. She was probably the one that was on the dance floor all night long and prepared to go to the club again when she leave church.
Hey, but she kind of get that word in it though.
She got it in.
She kind of get it in now. That's one thing I look at.
She first lady. She first lady. She got to be in there.
Hey,
she got to be in there. Yeah. She got to show up. She first lady.
She showed up and showed out that morning.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get the money.
I can't be mad at her.
But I tell you what, I'm going to go back to Juanita. Check this out right here. Check this out.
When it's so tight in the front that you can actually see the print of your vagina?
That's pretty tight, dog. I'm just saying. That's pretty tight.
That's
You know
tight.
what you're doing. That means
He's looking at you.
You either have no panties on or you got a real tight, good, secured thong on, or you just that bulgy to where, you know what, ain't nothing gonna cover you down.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That to be that tight, you can see that little slip down in there, man. That's just it made me wonder. I haven't seen them.
This is not something where you say, well, Juanita, why you looking so hard? I mean, some things, just like when I was in the store last week, it wasn't that I was trying to look hard. It was there. It was boom, shalaka boom. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Dad.
Yeah. You must learn.
And I learned that day, when you see a big woman laying over her cart pushing it, just don't even look at all. Don't even look at all. Because something is hanging out that ain't supposed to be hanging out. And you're going to get caught. Good thing she was talking to somebody, because she looked at me dead in my eyes. My eyes were looking dead at her breasts. They weren't breasts. They weren't breasts. I don't know what they were, but they weren't breasts. They were too huge, man.
They were that huge.
I'm a small-bodied man. They were about as big as my, from shoulder to shoulder, man. That's how big one breast was. I drive you not, man. They were big.
She was pretty stacked then. She had a heavy set on.
Just too big.
Just about to jump out at you.
Just too. It was. I thought they was getting ready to run at me or something, man. I had to get gone, man. You ain't chasing me down. Man, I'm here to tell you.
Get somewhere.
You must learn.
I've learned from that.
But the matter at hand is absolutely right. I don't think it should be back to the Juanita Bynum situation. I don't think it should be. I don't think it could be considered a dress code for church, because you should have the right to come as you are. But I think it should be something put in place to try to not enforce a dress code, but to try to create something for the youth that they will enjoy and feel comfortable coming to church in. Everybody's so proud of their bodies, and they displays it nowadays. You know, it's not to be covered up. They're proud of it. That shows they're confident within themselves. Even big women. They would put on something. Some people like, whoa, but you know what? Their confidence level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing, Marquise. You know, big women can dress beautiful and dress so much more appropriate, in my opinion, than some of the slimmer women do when it comes to the church attire. And some big women can dress sexy. I mean, provocative. I mean, to me, it's in with the eye of the beholder is what's sexy. But as far as provocative, you know, some big women can dress provocative. And we've all seen it, but I think Miss Bynum really just had her feel and said, you know what, I just can't take it no more. It's gone too far, and nobody's standing up doing nothing about it. And somebody needs to stand up and do something about it. So I do take my hat off for her for standing up, because you haven't heard one male or one other female pastor to stand up and say, hey, this got to change.
Mm-hmm. You have not. You're absolutely right. I get it. I take my hat off to her on that point. Her whole standpoint of coming and attacking this topic, it makes sense. It adds up to me. You know, she did. She's the first one to really speak out on it. But she needs to tighten up. If she's going to come with something like that, follow up with a plan. Mm-hmm. You know, you understand when I want to see no more vaginas.
Effortless Films, they coincide with what you said earlier. You know, they think pastors are allowing it because that's where they're getting their money from, which is true. I mean,
because a lot of as I grew up in the church, and sometimes I still go to church. As you come in, they're looking at the individuals coming in. Come as you are, come to church, praise, the house of worship. Yes, people are going to check out what you're wearing, but majority of the pastors, their job is to get the word out there, fill up the temple, you know, to fill up them seats in the church, to build a good house, a good foundation for their members. So we're coming in on somebody's wearing and really focused on that. That's taken away from what they're supposed to be focused on. It's reaching them. You know, it always states back in the day as I got older, and then I remember some stories people told when I was younger. When a person eventually get ready to change over to manifest and be this great person, they change their way of thinking, the way of dressing. See, all the people that she's addressing or making this statement, eventually they have to grow. They have to mold themselves to change their way of dressing eventually, to understand that this is not a place to dress like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I say if she hasn't, which I kind of feel she may have, and it just didn't go over the way she wanted to, but maybe she needs to address it to the churches or the ministers directly, because she was speaking to her message was to the ministers that are there, not the congregation, the ministers.
I truly understand, but it seems like she's attacking everybody. No matter how she can address it to the certain pastors or the deacons or what's going on. When you address a topic like this, basically you're yelling at the whole church. That's the way I took it.
You know what? And that's one thing where I'm not siding with her, but that's one thing where I now understand when people say you get a clip and people grab off the clip. You really have to go back and watch the whole footage. It's like an hour and something long footage that she put on out there. And once you sit down and listen to the whole thing, you'll get a better understanding as to really where she's coming from. Because right now, all you're doing is getting clips of certain key points that, Urban Voice Media felt that was something strong that we need to talk about. But when you go back and listen to it, you'll see that she was really directing this to the ministers, whether it's the minister preaching the word, the minister, the director of music, whether it's the praise dance ministers, all those ministers that are female that are dressing provocative, her message was geared to them, not the congregation.
Yes, I understand that totally. See what I'm saying? It's like she's addressing it to them, saying basically, like I said earlier, lead by example. You, with the way you dress, the people under you, around you, in the other ministries, the youth ministries, or whatever else, they're watching you. So of course, the way that you present yourself in public is the way that the younger children or the younger other people of the church will present themselves. They're saying it's cool. They make it seem like it's all right. I understand that. What I'm explaining, the way she explained it, you're speaking on these individuals that's dressing this type of way. But I understand you're attacking them because of their position in the church or whatever they might be. But what they're not getting, once you make a statement like that, you are addressing it to every woman that comes in there dressing provocative. No matter if she was trying to get a point across to this individual group of people, but coming out like this, it was more like you attacked everybody. It seemed like you're more on you attack. You had a good her point. She got a point across. Yes, dressing provocatively in church, that's not the place for it. You should come accordingly, dress accordingly for church. Not showing your print, not showing your nipples, not exposing your thighs. I understand that. But the whole thing, if she's wanting to get it to that certain group of individuals, she should have sat down and took it another way with a board meeting to see what they can come up with to explain to them young ladies or who it may be, whatever, to how to dress appropriately to lead by example.
And Miss Brownlee, that's one thing that Miss Bynum said. She said there's a time and a place for everything, and she didn't feel that the church was a place for the ministers to dress like that if that's something they choose to do. But leading in the role model of godly, holy, spiritually, should you be leading in a way to where you are enticing men and women to just look at you and focus on you and not focus on the word, not focus on the praise, not focus on the glory, not focus on the spirit of the Lord. They're just focusing on the body of you. So you're right, Miss Brownlee. There is a time and a place for everything, and evidently, Miss Bynum's had enough with these churches not doing godly work, and that's just it is what it is. Marquise, these churches, man, they got to have standards. If you don't have no standards, you letting any and everything go on in church. Are you really doing God's work? I mean, that people just doing what they want to do. They come the way they want to come. They act the way they want to act. Is that number one, healthy functioning?
That's not healthy. No, what I'm looking at is no, that's not a good look. That's not a good way church. No, you're not supposed to be able to come to church, do what you want. So it is up to the pastors to build that foundation to get their church in order of dressing appropriately or the type things that happens in church. Like she spoke on females having sex in church, the deacons over in the corner getting them a piece. Well, she didn't say it that way, but that's
Hey, it was
I thought
close.
about hey now.
It was close.
Hey now. So she opened up some doors.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I agree with what you're saying on that. Like it's a time and a place, and the church you can have more order. My thing is saying, how would they pertain that order? It's gonna be they're gonna have to come with a whole nother master plan to get an understanding of the people, about changing the dress code or trying to correct some of the errors that's going on in the church now. But the one thing I can fall back on, you got a strong congregation of people that's following that church. If you go to the majority of churches and Google online and look into some of the audience, you see some people that dress more appealing. But you can look at that whole church is packed. No matter where the people come from, no matter what they're wearing, they still come to praise God. But the churches do need to clean up a whole lot more. I won't say enforce a dress code, no, but the way of dressing, lead by example. Lead by example. Start a clothing closet. Lead by example to change that, since it's such a big issue in the church nowadays.
And see, one reason why I say, I went to a church, Victory Christian Center in Charlotte, and there they had security there, meeting you, greeting you at the door. It wasn't like, they were patting you down or nothing like that, but they were just making sure that, you looked a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You didn't look like you were coming there to start no trouble. You didn't. And if you were a jacket up, they just asked you, can you open your jacket? They didn't touch you or nothing. They just asked you, could you open your jacket to make sure you ain't got no guns and all that in you and everything. So, that's why I say there should be some structure, because if you think about what she's saying, if you will let stuff like this go, what else are you going to let go? To where your church could be the next Charleston, because you let chaotic mess go on in your church, all because you just want that dollar. So, my thing on this right here is if Miss Bynum stepped on some toes, and if it hurt your toes, maybe it should have.
She had the right to hurt him. Now she came direct. I give her on that. Some toes needed to be stepped on to address this issue. Mm-hmm. I give her that totally.
Exactly, Ronnie. Salute to you. Church is not church anymore. You know what? I saw something where it said that millennials are not spiritual anymore. They're now trying to learn more about the universe. Mm-hmm. I can't remember where I read that at, but it said that that's what most young people are doing nowadays. Instead of going to church, they're learning more about the universe than they are about the church and God. Now that was very heavy. That was heavy.
Yeah. So it's pulling away from religion now. Mm-hmm. And it's going to want to know more about facts of life, the universe, mm-hmm. on how we evolved and was created. And that's not the first time I heard that. I heard that through a friend of mine. He was explaining to me about how a lot of people don't believe in God. They don't even know who God is. Mm-hmm. They believe more in the universe or believe in other people other than God. Mm-hmm. So you have people that's going more spiritual, looking towards the universe, instead of looking towards these millennials coming up in the church of understanding that God is the founding father. Mm-hmm. So it has.
Ms. Bynum, she spoke on one more thing, and she started out, in my opinion, the right way, but as she ended it up, she tried to gear it back at the male and saying the male is the problem, the male is the monster, not the female. Check this out right here, man.
I'm not gonna be quiet. No, you searching for something. You got some issues. You got some problems when you don't mind showing that much of yourself. There's something going on inside of you that you're trying to get out.
Now, did you hear what she said? She said there's something wrong with you. You got some issues going on, some problems that you need to get resolved and get out. Keep that on your mind for the moment as she continues to keep talking.
You better go and pray and ask God to go down in your belly and get that spirit of rejection, because that's what it's connected to. When you see a woman that's that loose about her body, you dealing with a spirit of rejection. You searching for something. You want some attention. And that's the wrong way to get it. That's the wrong way to get it, because what you selling. What you selling?
What you what? She said, what you selling? Pimp mode.
I don't get it. I don't get it, y'all. I don't. It's all right to have a little dress out with your little sleeves out if that's what we want to do. But the bottom of the sleeve come all the way down here where we can see the side of your breast. And you at church with that on? Come on now, y'all. Come on now. Come on now. You up there leading praise and worship and we can look straight through your dress like you ain't never heard of a slit? Come on now. For something.
You heard what she said. She said you're leading praise and worship and we can see all this. You're the leader. Leader of the pack.
Put your little sleeves out if that's what we want to do. But the bottom of the sleeve come all the way down here where we can see the side of your breast. And you at church with that on? Come on now, y'all. Come on now. Come on now. You up there leading praise and worship and we can look straight through your dress like you ain't never heard of a slit? Come on now. Come on now, you playing games. You playing games. And it's not becoming of Christ. That's not a woman of God. That's not a woman who's after God. That's not a woman who's after the heart of God. That's a woman that needs some sex.
What she say? This girl need
Some sex.
Yeah, she needs some. She needs some ooh la la.
Sex.
She needs some ooh wee.
I'm telling you.
Now I didn't make it up.
It came out of her mouth. That's what she said.
Yeah, she needs some ooh wee.
She needs some ooh wee, so she's hot. She
watch how Juanita. I mean, you can tell she really didn't want to say it, but she like, I got to get it out there. I got to get it out there.
Yeah.
Look at the expression on her face when she say this part.
That's a woman that needs some sex. That's a woman that's looking for a man. And what you're going to find is a monster. Come on now.
That right there is where I cross sides with her. When she said that what she going to find is the monster. I would have loved it for her to clarify who the monster was. Because she just sit there and said that this person got some issues, got some problems. She got some stuff in her stomach she need to get out and need to get exercised by the Lord. So who's the monster? Because she go to a man and a man gives her sex, he's the monster. But you just sit there and say it, she's playing games. It seemed like a monster was the one that's going to play the games. You know what I'm saying, man? A monster is the one that's going to do all the manipulating to do what they got to do to get what they want. So why is the man the monster? Because he gave her sexual pleasure. And he ain't the one who came after her. She the one who put on all these clothes to pull, to drag him in. She's the one flaunting and flossing and everything to pull this brother in or to pull this sister in. Why are they the monster? I needed her to clarify that. She didn't. I really, really did. Because if a lady come to me and she's dressing very provocative and she does it over and over and over, and she finally wins me over and grab me, who's the monster? Me? Really? I don't get it.
Me neither. I don't get it. They're the monster. They're setting you up, advertising you for every step, setting you up for it. So once you finally give in, the man's the monster.
Prime example. We at this function right here, Marky. We at this function. And I see that right there bouncing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that bouncing right there. And you see she got on red pumps too. She got on some red pumps. And she come up to me after the service and all this over. She says, LB, man, it was a great service. You played the piano real good, the keyboard real good. You did a great job. Da, da, da. She gave me a big old hug. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
She ain't hugging me like this. She gave me a hug. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Remember, this is the pastor's wife, dressed like that,
Yeah,
smelling all good and juicy and fruity. Man, stop.
yeah,
You know what's good, man. Ooh, first lady. Come on, man. It's too easy.
yeah.
Now, who's the vulnerable ones? We are. Come on, man. Stop playing.
We the victim. We
Yeah.
are the victims.
Remember what I said earlier in reference to if you let these little small things, well, it ain't small, but you let these things go, what else you gonna let go? This
Yeah.
clip right here shows exactly things that goes on in these churches when you don't have structure. Check it out.
His star in the east, and we have come. Listen, stop. Now, Marcus.
Now, one thing about this clip that got me is the pastor. He sat there and seen it. And he let them guys go ahead and throw some blows. Probably until it got resolved or whatever. Then he want to call Marcus his name, whoever Marcus was. He sat there and watched it for what 5-10 seconds before,
Yes.
and he stayed to make sure that whoever was getting them broke up got them broke up before he went down and everything, which might have been protocol for pastors. I don't know, but that's what I'm talking about. That type of foolishness. And look the way the other brothers. We go back and look at this clip again. Look the way the other brother was dressed in church.
His
Come as you
star
are.
in the east, and we have come. Listen,
Pastor waited a long time before he said anything. He could have said something. Security, come down. He could have said a whole bunch. He said nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. See how we do.
Yeah. It lasted a little bit longer than it should have lasted. It should have been stopped. Like I said, if you don't get control of the church, people think they can do anything in church.
Mm-hmm.
Fights breaking out in church nowadays. It has changed it has changed a lot since back in the older days. It's crazy, man.
When I was DJing, man, I mean, fights broke out into the nightclubs, but it was a wonderful night that no fights break out. But it seemed like fights and all kind of messes going off in the churches now, more so than in the clubs now.
But that should let you know that's a new club now. She just told her. Juanita just told us. You seeing titties, prints. You seeing everything in church nowadays. So you ain't gotta go to the club. Just be there Sunday morning. We got you.
You must learn.
Man,
times has changed. You can really say, Brother LB, times has changed, haven't it?
It has. It truly has.
But for me to see this woman working in church, though, I can't lie. I don't agree with all this, but hey, pull it up one more time. I just this is the pastor's wife, correct? I got to see this one more. And she getting down. Check out now.
She got on red.
Yeah. Hey, she dropping like it's hot.
Yeah, Pastor White can do that thing. She been practicing.
Yeah, she got low with it.
And you know what?
That was a hell of a good sermon.
As Juanita said, she might have been practicing more than just with the pastor. She might have been practicing with some of them deacons that Miss Bynum was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like she got it down. I'm sure some of the deacons might yeah. Mm-hmm.
They like to keep things in the house when it comes to the church. The same as anything else. Boy. Well, what is it coming to, man? Twerking in church. Twerking. I wonder what did the husband say after that. What was he at doing all this? Hey, I wonder what they called. Hey, your wife is up there twerking right now on the stage. Imagine.
His thing might be, is she by herself? And they say, yes, okay. He might have some chick in his little quarter. He might have the praise minister in his quarter, taking care of her. But you know what, man? With all the foolishness going on, and that's why I say that I never really liked big churches. to where the the pastor, first lady, and all them don't get to know the entire congregation one on one. It's too hard when you got a big church, too many
Mm-hmm.
people, too many services. You got a smaller church, it's more family oriented, and they get to know you personally. So you'll feel more connected. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that, hey, people, don't go to a big church, it ain't worth it. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm just saying my preference in reference to going to a church. I prefer to go to a small, homegrown church where it ain't so big to where you got 2 and 3 different services.
Mm-hmm.
But on this note, man, I think Juanita, she touched a lot of key points. The way she came off, Marquise, I think her, I think she got her point across, and I think she did a way better job than what I would have done had I had to address it under the circumstances. Because, especially with me not being at the level she is, as far as her connection in the ministry, her connection with God. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
on that level where she is. So therefore, I feel she did a way better job than what I would have done at the point I'm at right now. Because
I totally agree. I take my hat out to her. She really, she like I said, she addressed issues that needed to be addressed. Like I said, I give it to her. She brought it. She brought it live and direct. Uh, she handled the situation accordingly to address the situation that needed to be addressed.
mhm,
But
mhm,
I agree. I agree 100% on what she was saying, but I also disagree on how it was brought. I'm just, in some of the way I was brought. But like I say, she did her thing. Hopefully this makes a big impact within the churches of
mhm.
making women want to dress and dress a little bit more appropriately. Remember, you come into a place of worship,
Mhm.
so dress like it.
Mhm.
Twerking is not the place for church. We just seen it. It was a phenomenal video. Yes, she did her thing. I give her that, but that is not the place to show that this is what happens at church.
Right,
It's really embarrassing.
right. And
But
I agree with you on that. It's embarrassing that she even had to come out and talk about it. You know, it's to me, it's one of those situations. Um, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Because she had stated, I'll probably lose a lot of Facebook followers. She stated that, so she knows that she's going to lose some people. But
mhm,
I'm sure she had to sit beside herself, man, for so many days and nights to think about how to address this. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say I feel she did a way better job than what I would have done. Was all of her words politically correct? I don't feel they were, but that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But it was needed. It was needed, in my opinion, because
yeah.
maybe that's the starting point to change a lot of the other things going on.
Mhm,
Because if you can get these churches to get away from looking at the fine women in church and the fine men in church and start doing some outreach things in reference
yeah.
to, like, some of these white churches every Thursday or at least 2 Thursdays out of the month, they have the food truck drive. You go by and get a big box of food.
Mhm.
Got the soup kitchens. Black churches, where are y'all at with this? Some black
Told
churches do it. Why come all of you not doing? And I mean all, big and small churches.
you.
Help
Yes.
out the community. Your community should not look like a trash dump. If your
Amen.
church is inside the hood, why is the hood looking ran down and raggedy? But every Sunday, every Wednesday, yeah, can't forget Bible study. Yeah, money is coming into that church.
Mhm.
But no money's coming out of that church to help build up the community. Come on now.
That's one big thing that's not that they don't that really I haven't seen churches do in a long time. Like that community, keeping the communities together, keeping the
Mhm,
neighborhood clean, investing in the community.
mhm.
You hit some real key pointers on that one.
And see,
I
my thing on that one, like you said, invest in the community, because you can get. I mean, you can ask, like, the in church one day after service. Hey guys, we want to put a community together, some guys that can build homes, brick masons, da 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 da. But we want you to go and we're going to put money in restructuring this tore down home. for this person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they can get kickbacks and everything from the government in reference to doing it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of seeing that raggedy house go further and further to depreciate the community. Come on, man. Build the community up.
Absolutely. I got to give you that one, Brother LB.
People who got tore down cars in their driveway. You mean to tell me there's no mechanic in any church? Where you can say, hey, you're a mechanic, Joe. We're going to pay you to go and work on broke down cars in the community to see what's wrong with their cars and help get them fixed up, da 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 da. Come on, man. Really? Y'all can't do that?
We have to bring that back, man. I think it's time to bring it back. Be more. It's just not being in that building. Church is not a building. Church is everywhere. So we need to keep that same ambition that we have in the church. We need to keep it in the community of really getting around and uplifting our community, fixing up the houses, helping people that's in situations, making a big impact, a big change on the community.
I tip my hat off to Sister Bynum. Marquise, I'm done with this, man. If you got anything else on it,
man, you touched every topic, brother.
Man, I enjoyed it. Deep. I hope Sister Bynum comes through with a resolution with whatever churches or church that she found the problems in, and they come put the nail to the head and resolve that issue, man. Because it does not. That small issue, I'm sure, has created other issues.
Yes. You know what would be a good idea if she was to start a church clothing line to the grown and sexy. A certain type of venue to market to show that you can show sex appeal, but you don't have to show as much. That would be a good start. It's just just a good start and just playing around with it and just seeing to lead by example. That's all my whole thing. Lead by example. Even though this situation has occurred, let's rectify it and let's lead. Let's stand up and make this change.
Well, Miss Bynum, if your people or any of your people are watching the Urban Voice Media Hot Topics podcast, hey, you heard what Marquise asked. It is a request that he throw it out there into the universe. Start your own clothing line, and through your clothing line, maybe the church can get a kickback or something if the members are buying from your clothing line. It goes back to some proceeds go back to your church. Because you got members in your church buying from her clothing line. You guys can work it out some kind of way somehow to where it's beneficial for everyone. They're wearing better attire, and at the same time, it's building business. Bottom line, it's building business because at the state and time where we are right now, I mean, it's hard getting people to go to work, hard getting people to do anything anymore now. So I agree with you 100. Start a clothing line. Show these people how to dress. Some people don't know how to dress.
Yes.
Some people's role models of dressing is off the internet.
Thank you. So you know what? The only thing they know is to dress provocative. All they know is to wear this slim outfit. They never had nobody around to say, this is what you should wear and that's more ladylike. So, we still got some lot of corners to hit on this, man. Hopefully we can follow back on this topic. We keep watching it, keeping our eyes on the topic, see what's gonna come next after everything is over done with. But yeah.
All right, brother.
Like I say, some women, you gotta look at social media, the internet, like I said, the internet music videos. Those are what women idolize.
And I think that's where a lot of it comes to, because she talked about that as well. She talked about the color of the hair, the pink, the green. She said she's not above all that because her hair is naturally blonde and it gets blonder in the summertime when the sun hits it. And she said that, she did try to blonde it more. Quite now, she's an older lady. I'm sure she's maybe getting some gray or whatever, and she blonded to get the gray out. But she said God had touched her and told her that, hey, you have to lead by example and sacrifice. And that's what she said. And she said that's some things that we have to do as leaders. We have to sacrifice. And she said that was one thing that she was willing to do, the sacrifice of not showing the true color of her hair and actually showing the true color of her hair. So, and that way she wouldn't be called a hypocrite in reference to, well, I'm wearing red hair, you wearing yellow hair. What's the difference, Juanita? So
Yeah,
she had to come to a midpoint where she said, you know what? If I'm going to speak on this, I got to sacrifice. So, but I'm with you on it, brother. Maybe some good to come out of it, and she'll come back and maybe tell the results of the outcome of her actually placing this out into the universe, and maybe some good things come from it, and we can get some other testimonies as to how it touched some people and made them to look at themselves in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to change.
absolutely right.
But with all that being said, bro, I appreciate it. Until next time, guys, we'll see you on Hot Topics.